Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. We are actually getting more and more people viewing the channel every day. So thanks a lot for following along. So um, just a reminder, we're live at 2 p.m. for those of you who are new. Although tomorrow we will be going a little earlier. We'll be starting at 12 p.m. PST tomorrow. So today I'm here with Daniel, who's just stepped out momentarily and will be coming back shortly. And I'm also here with our veteran engineer, Plukas, on the Plow team. Hi, Plukas. He spent years shipping software at scale before this, and he's the right person to speak to today's topic. So yesterday, Claude went down. Not a blip. Every model, every platform, the API and Claude code with it. And the same morning, Codex wobbled too at the same time. So for a few hours, a lot of people who are building right now simply could not work. So if your product is one API call away from a 500, yesterday was a preview. So here's the question. Almost everything we build leans on a frontier model that we don't own. The API is somebody else's engine. How much of Plow could run on a model that lives on your own machine? And what do you actually give up to get there? Local models, open weights, and the line between control and convenience. We'll start with talking about that. And I have a question for you, Plukas, before we dive in. And then we'll take a look under the hood at some local models. And we might even try to install a local version of Whisperflow, a competitor to Whisperflow. So for anyone like me who hates typing and relies on transcription, this is one to watch. All right, let's dive in. So, Plukas, yesterday Claude went down, Codex stumbled too. If that lands mid-build, what actually stops for us, and what keeps running?
Yeah, so there's a few things. Like Plow as a product is like an agentic AI, right? Like you can text message Plow and it will respond back to you, and you can have it do stuff on your computer. So Plow is an API service. The API itself doesn't go down. That's still backed in Amazon, and your request will still go through. But then Plow, the API, then needs to go and contact, some other model like Anthropic or OpenAI or whatever. And so then that becomes a point of failure. And so Plow in that case will have trouble generating a response and that kind of stuff. So that's one thing that can break. But if your API or whatever, your product doesn't necessarily have to rely on LLMs, then you're fine. But what will break for probably almost all engineers these days is your development workflow. So we're all using LLMs nowadays to build and generate code. Plow, we're trying to be pushing as strong as we can so we don't even write any lines of code or try not to read any lines of code and really orchestrate everything through the LLM. So in that case, then it's okay, now it's really down. Our velocity then becomes impacted. The other thing I'll say about these outages, go ahead.
Yeah, because I would say that my velocity went down to 0. In the past, if you were, I don't know, messing around with C, C++, you were compiling your code, you would be waiting for the code to compile for you to see if it runs or it doesn't. And today, I asked the AI agents to build stuff, and they're building. I don't know if it will work or not, but I'm waiting for them to build. And if Claude is down, I'm down. I don't even, I could change to Codex, but my setup is tied to Claude, and it takes more effort to change providers and restart working versus just waiting and going out for a coffee break.
Yeah, there's definitely some sense of vendor lock-in. So it's I wouldn't say it's too much of a lock-in. You could probably change over the course of a week and move all of your workflow over if you absolutely had to. But it's when the APIs go down, you're just kind of oh, hopefully it's just an intermittent thing. Hopefully it's just a 5-minute thing. Hopefully we'll be back this hour. And then you're just kind of waiting, and you're not you always have this hope of that it's just going to be temporary. The other thing that I've noticed too is that there's these brownouts too, where it's not just it's totally down. It's some random calls will get 500s here and there. And that can be even more frustrating because you're it's kind of working, it's kind of not. And I've started to develop even loops. I don't know if you've done this, Daniel, but I'll have it loop and be check in on all your people every 5 minutes, because I'm saying, okay, there's a lot of API errors this morning. So it's maybe one of the cooks in my kitchen is now down and just has API error and it gets stuck. And so you might need to kick it. So I have some workflows in there to try to kick things back up when it's in this brownout type of environment.
Yeah. In my case, all the messages, all the work that is being done is directed to the boss that manages the team. And if the boss is not working, um,
Yeah.
like there's no way I would send messages to 20, 30 cloud sessions to have them work. Like it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So like boss is not working, I will take a break. and and like in your example, yeah, if it's a 5 minutes 1 hour like outage, it's okay. I would not switch providers because of this, and because it doesn't make sense. Like I would take half an hour to change providers, and then if it turns back, I'll change again. So I'm wasting more time like proactively doing something versus just waiting. But yeah, if it's like days or weeks or something real change, yeah, definitely I would change providers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is obviously it feels like these are short periods of time, these outages, but if there was like I felt like all of a sudden this panic that what if there was this longer period of time? I mean, since the government was able to shut down Fable 5 indefinitely and it still hasn't come back, there was a part of me that went to a very conspiratorial part of my brain that was like, oh, well, that was fun. I guess we're not getting clawed back. But yeah, is this an argument for building? I mean, how do we mitigate the risks here? Do we build redundancies with secondary models? Do we try to move things more locally? What are some of your recommendations?
Yeah, I mean, this problem also isn't completely new, right? Like as a developer, we're dependent on many different APIs to be up and running. One of the more fragile ones of late has been GitHub. And you see that when like, you have all these things that depend on GitHub Actions and your CI/CD pipeline is running, or it's like you can't do a release because GitHub is down, or so all of this stuff isn't exactly new. It's just like adding more and more of these dependencies into the chain. But yeah, I mean, I think as like we're still kind of in this model where like it doesn't happen too much of the time, and it's like always maybe it's just like some of the models are down, but like not both of them. There hasn't been enough like failure to be like, okay, we really should invest in like having a full offline open model kind of development workflow, just because it hasn't the cost isn't there. But if these things start going down for days or models starting to get pulled altogether, like then I think it might justify that work.
Got it. So Daniel, you use a ton of open models, right?
Yeah.
Can you kind of talk about where that makes sense and what the decision is to go local?
Yeah. So for me, like my development workflow, I rely pretty much on Claude and Codex, and I do have a beefy machine here with two GT RTX 3090s, like with 48 VRAM. But I don't think that's not good enough. That's not near good enough for me to code on them. And part of that's like those companies, they are subsidizing all our usage. Like $200 equals $5,000 in if I was going to pay. So the hardware necessary to run those state of art models are like crazy, like expensive. The hardware itself, right? So unless you have your own server with tons of GPUs, I don't think you can run the state of art model. And you like I did try setting up on my own machines, and it takes more time for you to set up everything and have something that works versus just paying whatever is the top company model available for you. So just pay, no setup time, use it. Now, when it comes to different types of workflows where there isn't a really, I would say like, there isn't like a Claude or a OpenAI model for this field, I would search what is the best open source model for that challenge. For example, I do video editing and I need to position myself in frame. Maybe I'm here and I want to be here in the edited version, and I need to know where I'm at. So there's a really good open source model from that Facebook released called it's SAM3. It's segment anything the version 3 is really good and it's really fast and runs local. It fits my VRAM. So whatever I want to run that fits on my hardware, I will run. For example, Claude does not. The Claude model will not fit my hardware. There is open source models that I can run, but they will not fit my hardware and give the same performance. So if it fits and gives great performance, I will use it for sure. So for example, this takes like a few milliseconds, I think, to extract where is my face on frame, and I can actually show you what it looks like. Let me share my screen real quick. So if you take a look here, you can see I wanted to know where are my eyes, my face, and my head, and it just does it. Like I feed the frame, and it extracts whatever I need, and this is really fast. So why wouldn't I run something that I do have the hardware? It is really fast, and I actually don't know a really good provider that can be as good as that for me. And even like I think locally will be faster than if I had a provider, because I don't have the network latency because I'm running everything local. And the same is for same is true for some different type of models that I use for. Actually, I did a test cloning my voice, and maybe I have this open here, and I can show you what it looks like. In the process to clone my voice, in the past, I think this will be like a lot of work. But today, I just actually created a task saying, hey, what is the best open source model for cloning my voice? Find a few of them, do some A/B testing, blind A/B testing for me, clone my voice. I will hear, and then I will pick whatever I think is the best. And then you let me know which one it is, because that's what we want to use. So if I open this here.
You just give it like your YouTube channel or something, and it can just take the data from there.
I could do that. The thing is, there's that thing called garbage in, garbage out. I don't know which segment the model will pick from my voice. Maybe there's my dogs are barking, or there's something bad in that sample. So what I did was I just get my phone, recorded a 30-second sample voice.
30 seconds of input?
Yeah, 30 seconds. Those models are really good. They're one-shot cloning. So let me show you. This is the second best. I can show the. I didn't hear this one actually. So it's first time I'm hearing this. I can show the first one, the top one. That's what I choose. So let's hear. Let me know if you can hear.
No.
So this is the top two. No, you can't.
No,
I can't hear.
No, too bad.
While you figured that out, I will say I have tried some cloning in 11 Labs to a large degree of success. It's remarkable, but it does seem like that is too small of a data set for the 10. It builds an entire voice, on 10 seconds of dialogue, which, when I tried to, for example, clone Sam to our founder and CEO, he has a lot of very specific vocal mannerisms that are wonderful, and they're so rich. But you can map an entire person's personality, vocal personality in 10 seconds. So I'm surprised the data set is so small. But I think what they're trying to do is reduce friction to get users on quickly and out the door. But I do wish it was a little higher data set, which I'm sure you could. But
yeah, I think on 11 Labs, there's two ways you can clone a voice. There's what you call one shot. That's what I'm doing, like provide a short sample of the voice you want to clone, and it's cloned. So, and there's another way that you can provide, like, I think you need to provide at least 30 minutes or an hour worth of voice. And then it actually does I don't know if it's actually fine tuning or like some step of training on that voice, and then you're expected to get better results versus the one-shot one.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm super excited about in terms of local models is the tooling around them. I think is starting to get dramatically better. I don't follow this space super closely, but I was watching some of the videos from WWDC, the Apple Developer Conference, and Apple's, of course, like, they're revamping Siri this year. It's going to become this huge. It's not exactly a local model, but they're also having a bunch of new local models support for stuff that runs on your phone, or on on the Mac silicon. And so I was looking around at some of that, and then having a bunch of great tooling around running local models, like, just like from Hugging Face or whatever, like tools to like help developers incorporate those into their apps. And also even helping people run larger local models that may not be able to run on a single Mac. But there was a WWDC video that I saw of like somebody having like 6 Mac Studios kind of all stacked up on top of each other, and they were talking about how you can run a larger language model and harness the power of all of those Macs to like, compute, to run that model, which may sound not as like practical for an individual developer, but I can also imagine that like opening up, you could create a SaaS business around that too, of like, yeah, I'm just going to buy this Mac hardware, and like, we can be running these local models together. So you're still dependent on some other service, but it's like, it's more contained than just Claude,
Yeah.
just a single failure.
Yeah, and at the beginning, actually, I think 2 years ago, we were exploring this. Sam had this idea of building a lot of GPUs and building racks and renting those GPUs. So this is like a shared infrastructure where people can rent. You're like I could rent my computer here, my hardware, for people that want to run these models, and maybe you could run your cloud using this infrastructure.
Would you? Wow, that's interesting. So how would that work in practice?
Just like there are big providers that have those servers with large amounts of GPUs there, and if, for example, this model that I'm running for facial recognition or voice cloning, it just needs the GPU power to process the thing. So as long as I can provide the input and the model is loaded there in the hardware, it will run, and then I just need to get my output back. There's different types of processing that leverage running multiple GPUs. So instead of loading the work on one piece of hardware, if I have 10, this will be like 10 times faster, because I'm leveraging the parallelization, right? Not everything can be processed in parallel, but there are types of jobs that can. So nothing would stop me from just renting and paying like 1 hour worth of 10 GPUs, and maybe I'm paying like a few dollars per minute, per hour, or a few cents per hour, and do the thing I need to do. After it's done, I stop renting, and there is a lot of providers for this. Especially, we were exploring like individuals putting their hardware, their home hardware, their home servers available in these platforms for other people to rent.
Wow,
that's cool.
It's like the share economy, but with computers, or GPUs.
It's like SETI.
Yeah, like SETI at home. Actually, let's try. I think this will work. So instead of opening on my computer, I'll play on my microphone, and you let me know if this looks like me or not. Okay.
I'll close my eyes.
I'm Daniel, and this is my cloned voice running on our own server. I'm Daniel, and this is my cloned voice running on our own server.
Okay.
Our seed planted today, and by tomorrow the whole pipeline will be live.
Honestly,
I can't believe how natural this sounds. It's basically me talking.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this like took a few seconds to run, and that's based on the 30-second audio sample that I gave from my phone. I literally did this, like, just talked for 30 seconds, told my people, hey, here's my voice, clone that thing for me. do the blind taste test. So actually, it's set up like 4 or 5 different voice cloning models on my hard drive, run one at a time, save the file, and then presented me a HTML with the things for me to score which one I liked. And this was the top one.
I can see why. That was pretty
really
good.
cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
And so as I'm like recording these demos, there is times that I will record in Portuguese, right? Because my native language, but I want to share with my team as well. So what if I can just say, hey, replace my voice with the English version of Daniel, and then I have the video to share with you all.
Yeah, so powerful.
I was thinking about that today during the Discord. It's like we need some sort of live translation through the AirPods or whatever.
Yeah. So tell us about that. What happened today on Discord? Because I actually tuned in and I listened to you, but I saw Dan was actually talking, and I think maybe fielding questions. But I was thinking he was translating into Portuguese in real time. But what was going on today on our Discord? But by the way, which is Watch Me Pivot on Discord if you'd like to find us.
Yeah, so Daniel we set up the Discord for Watch Me Pivot. Daniel brought in some of I guess he advertised it to his community today, which is awesome. So there was like a half dozen people just in there having a Discord chat. And I hopped in and started just to share my screen and work. And, they had some questions for me, which was awesome. And Daniel was nice enough to help to translate everything. But yeah, I mean, it was cool. It was really great.
Excellent. So do you think this is something that we could do more of? Is that the plan?
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to Daniel earlier today about live streaming, just how he does with his desktop as he goes throughout the workday or whatever, and he was suggesting that maybe doing it in Discord could be a good experiment to try, and super easy to set up, and people were there and engaged, so it was a good first experience. Definitely want to do more.
Yeah, it was like Lucas asked about the setup. I explained the setup, and then I don't know what was going on in Discord, but I just thought that's the most easiest way to do a live stream, like just go into Discord and share. And yeah, people enjoyed. Like I think that mission that Sam talked about, like making knowledge about how we're using AI available, like that's the feedback I got from people there. Like they're super excited about having access to a Silicon Valley company, Silicon Valley startup, and like seeing what we're doing, how it works, and what we're using.
Yeah, and I think our daily yields, daily lives are definitely a part of that. So I think we're close to time, so I guess I'll wrap us up a little bit. But I'll say that we're going to continue to explore ways to knowledge share. We also learn from things from you. So we'd love to kind of hear more and get more engagement, even on these streams and obviously on Discord. So if anyone ever has a question that they'd like to pose to anyone here, I encourage you guys all to reach out to us. It's our whole value system is to share knowledge. So use us as much as you can. Anything else that you guys would like to share before we wrap up today's episode?
I'm organizing a hackathon for people to develop their own seeds. So if you want to join, make sure to join our Discord. Watch Me Pivot Discord. That's where the main communication channel about the rules and how to join and what to deliver is going to happen.
Excellent. That's it for today. Quick reminder that what we're doing here, we go live every day at 2:00, although tomorrow we will be at 12:00 PST. The goal is to share what we're learning in real time and learn right back from our audience. Thank you so much for joining us for another Daily Yield. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow.